not only, obviously, are you able to think creatively, or at least you flex that muscle a little bit more than the average person might. There's also a, commitment to precision, to like the beauty of line or sound, to getting things right, to the discipline of perfecting something, and that translates into an office. Like you very rarely are going to find a dancer or a musician or someone who's not turning in impeccable work, because that's the standard that you're held to, right? And that's the way that you have been taught to work, not only to the standard, but above and beyond, right? Because that's how you're trained as a dancer, as a musician, is to always go above and beyond, and to always make sure your work is, not just okay, it's something that's worth presenting. And so you come into an interview and you have all these examples of not only, your written skills, but you were balancing all these rehearsals and these performances and all your course load, and you're investigating this project, and you were doing this, offsite, installation. These are incredible, just organizational and calendar management skills that a lot of people just don't have.
The most powerful skill you're going to have is the skill of crafting narrative and storytelling and framing experience, right? This world building idea. That's why I fell in love with directing. I had done acting and writing, but this idea and the thought that I could build a world that reflects my experiences, or that I want to see, or we want to see for each other, is what I love about being able to be an artist and to do that. I think the interesting thing about who's on this call is also that we all learned leadership skills, right? Admin skills, and those have been important in our careers as artists and how we've navigated, and also the positions that we've ended up in, as well as communication skills.
I would really say, like, it's hard for me to really think about it any other way, because it really wasn't a choice. I think, experiencing art just was never really an option for me. It was just it was a lifestyle. And so, I think what was most influential was, like, I just feel like Lori's on this call, like Sally's on this call, Anna Leo was my, mentor. Like, there's people, it was part of my family, people I still talk to, people who I still follow on Facebook and Instagram and chat with, right? Like, I felt like it doesn't even feel like quote unquote education in this like box type way. It was really, it's like this part of my life and part of my family that continues to be a part of who I am. So
in my particular case, I can't say that it was an active, like, I'm going to try dance. It was just what I always did. And the ability to continue that and not have to give up anything that I'd already been studying from such a young age, and be able to continue that through my, college career and beyond, was really wonderful.
The degree of attention you get, in our theater and dance programs, they're just, versus say our poli-sci or bio programs, they're just smaller programs. And so I was able to just interact and learn from the faculty, and to learn how to read and think critically in ways that you don't necessarily get in some of these other departments that are just much larger. But the level of interaction, and then also it's these are artists who are your professors, who are also your colleagues and you have professional relationships. So you call them Michael or Alice, you don't call them professor in the same way. And it's not that there's any less respect, it's just because it's a different type of relationship. And I felt like that was also very empowering for me at that point to think of myself as an artist right away in that way, and the privilege of thinking ourselves as artistic colleagues with the faculty we have, which is so wonderful.
And I would say what I thought I was going to do after I graduated is nothing like what I do now. So, like, yes is the short answer to your question. I knew what I was going to do after I graduated. I didn't end up doing what I said I was going to do. And nothing that I thought I was going to do after I graduated is what I actually do now. So anyone who's here, I hope you can resonate with some level of that, because I have a huge range of assurance to lack of assurance, and I'm still here surviving and thriving. So I think that works out. But I think, you didn't ask this question, but I will just like plug this in. To me, that's what I love about an arts education, is like, you are really a person who's supposed to sit in the imagination and possibility of what can be. And that's a really scary place when you're like mapping out a career, right? But like, honestly, it's been when I have been sitting in the imagination of what could possibly be that I have done my best work. I just encourage, if you're like a little bit unsure, if you don't know what you're doing, if you do know exactly what you're doing, like, you know what? Anything is possible. Everything is possible. And your next steps will come and they will meet you where you're at.
You can set out on a journey and have a plan. And then, there's going to be these detours and things that you didn't know that were going to come up in terms of opportunities. And you kind of just roll with it. For me, I knew I actually all the way through the end thought I was still going to go to law school. I took the LSAT. And, the thing for me was I kept feeling this pull about, I wanted to make change or impact change. And there are different ways you can impact change in the world. And one is that you could do it through something like policy. And then the other way you can do it is through storytelling, right? And through empowerment, through storytelling and putting a face and a name to a cause. And more, I started to get that perspective and see where that was. I also really, during my time at Emory and afterwards was challenged by the lack of representation and visibility. I didn't see myself reflected on the stage. I didn't see myself and my experiences reflected on TV and film. And so that was something that I did want to see changed. And the way to do that is to do it yourself, right? To make that happen. If I wasn't going to, then, who was, right? I shouldn't expect someone else to come up and do that.
If you're going to work in the arts, you have to truly love it, right? Like you could get your MBA and go do marketing for Nike and make a lot more money, right? But you're so disconnected from the production of the item. You're just selling something. Whereas here, I was with Aspen Santa Fe Ballet, Jazz Lincoln Center, now music. I mean, I can walk down the hall and there's art happening, which is something that makes it truly worthwhile and what differentiates a career in arts administration from regular administration, right? Or regular marketing or regular business administration. So there are definitely career paths that you pursue, but you have to sort of actively make them happen. And along the way, pick up skills that can travel and traverse across different areas so that you are able to jump into, scenarios as they come up.
You don't need to focus on one area. And I would actually say go the other way, take advantage of a liberal arts education, take advantage of this opportunity to explore things that you've never been introduced to. So that actually goes back to Edward's class. I mean, the other thing is don't limit yourself right away. I'm a chem major and a theater major, and take that social class, take those other, There's a whole wide world out there and you're only going to be in college once. And so the other thing is, and you're going to take theater or dance classes or chem classes a lot for the rest of your career. So I would say part of being an artist and learning empathy and growing as a person is exposing yourself to these new things that you haven't been introduced to. And you never know how that will feed your work. So that would be the only other thing, is that we can become a little professional minded early, and you want to make sure you leave some breathing room for exploration and discovery. And you don't have to stick at any one discipline at any point, or make that decision now, because even career wise, that will change, as you build a body of work and where you are in your life, and how you want to tell stories or impact change.
I don't think that most people hiring out of college expect you to have a singular focus. Like they know you are young and that you're coming out of college. And I know from the perspective of being in college, it's like, well, I'm leaving college and entering the real world. From this perspective of someone who's now like 2 decades out of college, that's not what employers are looking at. And so I really would say take advantage, exactly what Snehal said, of like your full opportunity in liberal arts. And so if you're hearing yourself explore different things right now, that's the artist inside you saying, explore those things, right? And they will become gifts that will feed you later on in life.